putting videos up, and this is all very new to me, so I'm going to try my best. Life's been kind of busy and crazy since I made the last video. The last video I left off at saying that we were waiting for ovulation because I thought that my cycle had finally regularized and had come back to being kind of like normal for me. That was November, and I have some notes here because it's been so long already. November, and that cycle was still kind of really weird. So I was hopeful that things were going to be back to normal. I was going to ovulate around the same time that I normally do, but unfortunately, it was still kind of weird. My cycle, like I was spotting like a whole week before my period actually started, and I only had 2 days of real bleeding, and then back to spotting again. So it was just still kind of all over the place. I thought that I got a positive ovulation test on cycle day 20, which is kind of the norm for me. Like I ovulate around cycle day 19, 20. But later on, because I do my basal body temperatures as well, and it didn't confirm that I ovulated on cycle day 20 like I thought I did. So that was kind of frustrating. And come to find out, I ovulated much later, and I ovulated kind of like a week later, I think it was, like cycle day 25 or something. And if you look at my fertility friend chart, we just did not time it well. We had no BD for like 3 or 4 days before ovulation, even during ovulation, the actual day that I did ovulate. So we had timed it really well to the previous week when I thought I was ovulating. But obviously we were out that month. It was negative. I tested on 12 DPO and it was negative. So then comes December. December cycle was a little bit better, but unfortunately with a bunch of family things going on last minute, we had to travel, and it was kind of stressful. So we tried the best we could while we were out of town, and we're hopeful, and my temps were good. My ovulation was right on schedule, cycle day 19 on January 17th, and I came home and tested, and it was negative, which was a really big bummer because I was so hopeful that time. Everything was kind of lining up again like how it did when we first got pregnant in July last year. So I was like, this is it. We got it. Like, we timed it good. Everything was good. Ovulation test was good, but it was negative. So then came end of January cycle. This was another really frustrating cycle because I was under a lot of stress with a lot of family things going on, and it was just a tough month. And so, a lot of research says that like stress is an indicator for, I guess it affects you trying to conceive. But really, now studies are showing that stress is actually a byproduct of trying to conceive. So like it hinders your trying to conceive by really kind of affecting your hormones so you don't ovulate on time. Like, so what happened was this cycle I was really stressed out and everything, and so then my cycle was delayed, so I ovulated like another week later again, like how it was in November. So I ovulated late. I think it was like cycle day 25 is when I got a positive ovulation test, and then my temp went up on cycle day 26 or 27. So that was really, really late. So I was a little bit concerned about that if we did indeed get pregnant, like what does that mean? Like, and you really shouldn't be Googling a ton of stuff, but I always Google everything, and I take it with a grain of salt. So I don't 100% rely on stuff that I Google and I research online, but it does give me a sense of, control, because I'm controlling my emotions with what I'm researching and learning. So whatever, to each their own. But I feel like we timed it good. This This cycle, we did something a little bit different. I had already been using pre-seed. We got pregnant when we first started using pre-seed back in July, but I definitely was trying to use the pre-seed, and we did something a little bit different. We used those soft cups because I know that there's a lot of gals here on YouTube that recommend using a soft cup to kind of keep the sperm right up by next to your cervix, and it helps from, things just kind of oozing out and all that stuff. TMI, but but so we did that. We used the soft cup, especially around my fertile time and on ovulation day. And then, I've noticed that ever since I know what it kind of feels like to be pregnant, just with what my symptoms were and lack thereof when I was pregnant in July, I feel a lot of things going on, like, really right after I ovulate, obviously because your progesterone is, like, soaring, and, you start getting, like, the sore boobs and little twinges and cramping and all that kind of stuff. But then if I don't get pregnant that cycle, it kind of starts to fizzle out, like, a couple days later. So that has been what's been going on. Like, I'm right after I ovulate, I feel really hopeful because I have a lot of little symptoms, and I feel like this could be it, but then it really kind of fizzles out, and that's, kind of indicative of that negative pregnancy test that I get afterwards, and so end of January cycle, this last cycle was a bust as well, so we got a negative test. So what are we doing now? I'm just really tired, I'm emotionally exhausted. I'm so disappointed every time that, those tests come out negative, and I think that it's just, taking a toll out on me and my husband. Like, it's so much so that I don't even want to look at the pregnancy tests when I take them. Like, I have my husband go look, and then he lets me know, and I'll go look at it later, but it's just so exhausting. And so this last cycle, I kind of already felt like I wasn't pregnant, and so I was down about it, and, my husband was like, hey, isn't it, time to test? You can test now, right? And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just test for him, so I tested, and I left it on the counter in our bathroom for him to look at, in the morning when he goes to work, because he kind of fell asleep while he was waiting. And I already knew it was going to be negative, so I left it on the counter, and he looked at it in the morning, and I texted him in the morning, and I was like, hey, well, I didn't text him, I guess I called him. Like, we were talking during his lunch break, and I said, did you see, this morning? And he was like, yeah. And I asked him, well, how does that make you feel? Because my husband is very, like, it's not that he's unemotional, it's just he doesn't like to dwell on negativity, and he wants to be positive, and he wants to be hopeful and things like that. So, and he's my rock, like, through all of this, he's just stayed so strong for me, because he knows that I'm going through a lot, and that he needs to be there for me. So he just said, yeah, I saw it, and it made me sad, and that's just so sad, like, because my husband wants a baby just as much as I do, or even more so. He's always been so good with kids, and he's always wanted, babies, and that was never a question in his mind. And it's just such an exciting time when you're able to, like, try for a baby and be happy about a pregnancy, and everything is just all good, but then it's not happening as quickly or as easily as you hoped it would, and that's the funny thing that me and my friends always talk about, is that, all these years, like, we've been preventing pregnancy, and, like, God forbid if I got pregnant before I got married, my parents would be, like, disowning me and all this stuff, and that's probably an exaggeration in my mind, but it's always been a fear for me, and so I've done everything in my power to prevent that. And now that we are married and we're ready and we've got everything and we want to have kids and have a family, it's just so hard. Like, it's not as easy as you think it would be. You think that you would just, get off birth control and blink, and then, you would get pregnant, and you don't. And even if you do get pregnant, I've learned that it's, every milestone, you need to stay pregnant. You need to pass that danger zone, and you need to pass all those, genetic testings and things like that. It's not, it's a lot more fearful than I thought it would be. I thought it would just be this ignorant bliss kind of thing. So that's a little bit unfortunate, you know, like I'm gonna definitely, you know, if I do get pregnant anytime soon again, I'm just gonna constantly remind myself to just be in the moment and be happy for that moment that you have that baby, and not dwell on all the fears and all the negativity and the things that could go wrong, you know. So I'm gonna hope for that. But right now, it is March, and I am pretty much on the tail end of my period. And this month I decided I'm just so exhausted, tired of everything as far as like trying to conceive, so we're gonna take a break. What that means is I'm not going to take my temperature every morning at 6 a.m. I'm not gonna, you know, obsess about my fertility friend chart. I'm not going to test for ovulation. I'm just gonna record my first day, you know, my period, and then just like, if it happens, it happens. You know, my husband and I are obviously not preventing pregnancy, so we're just gonna have fun, hopefully, you know, and if it happens and it's meant to be, then, and it's my time, then it will happen. And if it's not, then we'll just pick things up after this cycle, you know. It works out for us because, you know, no matter how much I want to have a baby and we want to have a baby and start a family, like December baby due date is just kind of an inconvenience for us just because there's just so much going on. Holidays, not to mention, but we've got, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 birthdays in December. It's just really crazy. So you got Thanksgiving, all the birthdays, Christmas, New Year's. So we're just, you know, if it happens, it's meant to be. But if it doesn't, it's okay. You know, I needed this break. My husband needs the break. And we don't necessarily want to have a December baby. And I don't know if that's controversial to say that, but it's just how we're planning things. So in April, when my next cycle starts, then that'll be January and on. And I feel like we're gonna, I feel like I want to try still naturally and with nothing, you know, not worrying about anything for April and maybe May. But I'm definitely gonna reach out to my doctor around then and just be an advocate for myself. You know, I'm just going to tell her, hey, you know, I want to be proactive because I don't want to be reactive. I don't want to go through another miscarriage and then be like, okay, well, let's do some tests and find out if there's something that we can help or do, or if there's something wrong. Like, I want to be proactive, and especially if it's such a small thing like adjusting my hormones or making sure that I'm on progesterone while I'm in my luteal phase or whatnot. Like, I just want to be proactive. Like, to me, I guess my personality, as long as I'm doing something to help along the way, then that keeps me hopeful and that keeps me sane. You know, the unknown is what drives you crazy, right? So that's kind of where we're at right now. So I'm really sorry that this update came so long overdue. But this whole YouTube thing is really new to me, and I think that it's going to be one of those things that I have to really make an effort to make a video and put it out there, because I don't even know how to edit right now. I mean, this is like one shot, one take type of thing. So, but I figured I should put that out there, and, you know, not a lot of people watch my videos anyways yet, but if anyone's interested in where we're at and our updates, then here it is. So, I have been emotionally a little bit down lately because I realized that things are just not, you know, progressing as I want it to, and, you know, I wish I was pregnant right now. I wish I still had my baby, you know. So that's one of the things, is because in April, like, my due date for my miscarried baby would have been April 3rd or 7th, depending on what date you went off. Like, whether it was my first day of my last menstrual cycle or my ovulation day, because I don't ovulate on cycle day 14, like the textbook way. I ovulate a little bit later. So that's coming up, and I just realized that when I was scrolling through my calendar, and it just kind of, like, you know, it just crept up on me, and it just kind of put me down, you know, because we were supposed to be bringing home our baby, you know, soon. And we're not, and we're still struggling to get pregnant, and you know, all that stuff. So, and then along with that, you know, my sister-in-law is pregnant with IVF twins, and she just found out, and she just had her 6-day ultrasound, and both babies are healthy. They have heartbeats. And I know that they've been through a long journey themselves with failed IUIs and things like that. So I'm just so happy and grateful for that, and that they can have their family and their babies. But at the same time, it comes with a little bit of a sting in my heart, just because we want a baby so bad too, and it's just not our time. And you know, God's timing is you know, the best. But I just so wish that I could be in in her shoes too. You know, like I could be going to my pregnancy, you know, ultrasound appointments, and would be seeing that heartbeat and things like that. And they're just very open about things and sharing things with us from the early on get-go, because we know their journey, and we know when they would be finding out if they were pregnant or not. So we've been bugging them to find out, and they've been kind of keeping us in the loop since. So they just had their ultrasound today, and they sent us the videos of the little heartbeats. And so I just need to learn to just be happy without being sad for myself. You know what I mean? Like, that's just me being real. Like, people around me who are announcing pregnancies or having babies or whatever, is like, I am, you know, without a doubt happy for them. It's just, I wish I was just as happy, you know, in their shoes too. You know, like I just want what they are having, and that's just it, you know, like, and that's just the real emotional stuff, you know. And that, I feel like that's like the hardest thing lately with processing stuff, is just, you know, learning to be just happy for others, you know, without feeling down or sad for myself. So our time will come, and you know, there's like a quote or a verse or whatnot, like, if God's making you wait, you know, be prepared for double the blessings or something like that. And I'm just doing everything I can to stay positive. So I hope that all you guys are staying positive as well. Prayers and thoughts, you know, to everyone trying to conceive, and baby dust and all that good stuff. And I will be back on here to update at some point again, when we really start trying again. But yeah, thanks for watching my video. Like and subscribe if you want to see updates, if anybody's watching. And I'll see you next time. Bye!